right, what's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker, and today we're joined on Unique Access by Stevie Stone. Thanks for coming through, sir.
All day, love.
Yes. And we're talking about best albums, man. And one of the best albums for Stevie Stone is 2Pac, All Eyez On Me.
Yes.
Double album.
Yes.
Stevie Stone, why is this one of your best albums?
It was, back then 2Pac was my favorite artist, and I don't remember anybody coming out with double disc back then. I remember I was like in junior high school or something.
Yeah, that was
like
around the beginning of the phenomenon.
Yeah, so he was like one of those, and everything was a smash. I mean, he had so many dope records on there. George Clinton was on there, you know what I mean? And the production, and you know what I'm saying? It was just crazy. And like I said, he was one of my favorite artists, so I listened to that album.
You mentioned the double album, because that in and of itself was distinctive at the time.
Yeah.
So what made that something that really impressed you or made an impression on you?
That he was giving you so much music.
Okay.
It was so much music, and it was a lot of dope music. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he was my favorite artist. So every day after school, I used to come in and I used to play both of them. So I knew every word to every single song. Certain things that he was saying back then, I realized what he's saying now. Me doing hip hop. You know what I'm saying? There's certain songs. Every other city we go. Every other city. You know what I'm saying? It's like you hear it and you singing as a kid, and then me coming, you know what I'm saying, being an adult and doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You just realize a lot of things. But Pac was everything. You know what I'm saying? He wrote from here and it bled through, and I was one of those kids that he lit up with that. You know.
Now, of course, the first big song on the album was California Love with Dr. Dre.
Yes.
So that set off the whole album and really 2Pac into Death Row. So what, when you think back, what was the impact of that song? What made it so huge?
Man, he had them all great. He had Roger Troutman, he had Dr. Dre, and he had 2Pac all the way together. He was fresh out of jail. You know what I'm saying?
California dreaming.
You know what I mean? So it was like all the stars was in line to that. It was a music masterpiece. Dre did it, you know what I'm saying? And putting Roger, it was just all the stars was in line, and that was the record that everybody loved. It didn't matter where, we from the Midwest, but we used to bang that a lot. You know what I mean? Definitely.
Yeah. And then also on the album, even though he was involved in supposedly the East Coast West Coast war, he had Redman and Method Man on the album.
Yeah.
So when you heard that, knowing what was going on in the rap climate, what did it mean to you that he had those guys on the album?
It was, you know what I'm saying, to prove it wasn't an East Coast West Coast war, it was the media. It's kind of like we talked about earlier. The media are going to sit there and perceive things one way, and you got to look really, really deeper, because it's not always what they say it is. And, you can't believe everything that the media gives you and feeds you. And, so I've been like that since back then, you know what I mean? So I never did think it was an East Coast. He was from New York.
Right. How
can it be an East, you know what I'm saying? He's from there. So that was already out the window.
And went to high school in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Shout out Baltimore. But also with the album, I thought it was interesting that, Me Against the World was the album right before this, which was, him being incarcerated, going through a lot of his emotional, psychological issues.
Yeah.
And this one was a lot more about rage and like kind of letting loose.
Mm-hmm.
So lyrically and persona-wise, what did you see in the difference of him as an artist that stood out?
He was just in a different mind frame. When you're in a mind frame, you're writing what your mind frame and your moods is, and every album's gonna change. Me Against the World, I was a little bit more deeper as far as concepts.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you said, All Eyez On Me was more rage, and he was to the point and some controversial. And Me Against the World, I really didn't see anything off the top of my head that was really controversial at all. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't going through all the controversial media, mumbo jumbo either. So it's just a whole different phase in his life. You know what I'm saying? When he did All Eyez On Me, it was like a whole region on his back. You know what I'm saying? With California, you know what I'm saying? Riding with him. So it stuck more. It stuck more. Not to take away from Me Against the World, because I love that album also. He has some classics on those albums that I still love to this day. So.
Yeah, and also, speaking of California, he made a big point on the album to bring out, like, CPO, Boss Hogg was on there. He had SIBO on there. He had Rappin' Forte. Of course, Snoop with 2 of America's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
So with that, it kind of also helped popularize and give some shine to some of these dudes that were legends that didn't get as much shine on a huge commercial level like that.
Right.
So as an artist and as a listener, What impact did that have on you?
You know, he gave people shots. You know what I'm saying? It didn't matter. It didn't seem like he was worried about. And like you said, they were legends, but they just wasn't on.
They weren't commercial legends.
Wasn't a commercial
they were
legends,
rap legends.
but you could tell that he did what he wanted to do and what he felt was good. And that's everything when you're doing music. You do what you want, not necessarily what the people want. That's what I loved about Pac. He did what he wanted to do. He made good music. And the music, when it's real and it's good, it's going to bleed through regardless of what it is. You know what I'm saying? So.
And what do you think now is the legacy of 2Pac's All Eyez On Me?
It's one of the greatest hip hop records that will ever be done.